Hi, and welcome to episode 5 of the Marple Journal Podcast, a podcast all about the amazing people and businesses we have in our local area. I'm Sophie Cook, your host, and today we've got Kate Tynan in the studio. Kate is an international cake business coach and mentor, and she runs the Cake Business Club. Welcome, Kate. Welcome to the studio.
Hi, Sophie. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. How's your day been today?
It's been fine. Yeah.
Good.
It's nice, not raining, thankfully.
Ready to get into this conversation?
Yeah.
So first of all, could you just introduce yourself for me?
So, as you said, I'm Kate Tynan. I run the Cake Business Club. So I'm a business coach and mentor specifically for cake makers. I've got a membership of around 110 cake makers around the world currently. And I also coach people one-to-one as well. And I sell lots of low-cost tools for cake makers to help them save time in their business as well. So that is me. That's what I do.
That is me in a nutshell. So can you tell me a bit about why you do what you do?
So I used to have my own wedding cake business. I had that for 11 years, Little Button Bakery, and that was based in Marple. I mean, lots of changes happened during COVID time and kind of made me reassess a little bit my business. And during COVID, lots of people were asking me for advice, business advice. I was getting lots of messages. I ended up getting quite a lot of press in COVID. I was on the TV quite a lot. I was on the radio. And so people were kind of coming to me for advice. And I thought, well, maybe this is something I could help people with, like the business side of running a cake business. So I sort of started helping people for free at first. I set up a Facebook group for cake makers. I still have that now. It's got about 2,500 members in it, I think.
Oh, wow.
So people can get free advice from that. But then I thought, well, there's only so much you can do for free. And obviously time is money. You don't want to give all your time away for free.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let's try doing, this membership model. So I did a course with somebody, Lisa Johnson. I don't know if you've heard of her. She does a lot of passive income training. So I did her course and then started the club after that. So I kind of built up quite a bit of momentum around it. And then when I launched, I sold out all 50 founding member spaces in less than 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I've still got some of my founding members with me now. And I set it up it'll be 3 years this October since I set it up.
Oh, amazing. So we will delve deeper into all that. But can you just tell the audience your connection to Marple, as we are called the Marple Journal, and what's your favourite thing about Marple?
So I live in Marple. I've lived there for 11 years. I moved there when my little girl was still in my tummy. I just think it's such a lovely place to live. There's loads of community things going on. There's really nice restaurants, bars. You're on the edge of so much nice walks, countryside, the canals. And the schools are really good because I've got 2 children. So they both go to a really lovely, my son's in high school now, but they both went to a really lovely primary school. They've had a really happy time there. And, the schools have got a great reputation. So it's definitely somewhere that people should look to live. I love living there anyway.
Yeah, I do. I live in a nice part of Marple. It's up in the countryside, and I feel like I can just walk straight to the canal, to Lyme Park, wherever you want to go. It's easy to just get anywhere.
Yeah.
And there's Highland cows outside the house at the moment. And
That's nice. I'd like to live a little bit more rural because we live on a main road at the moment, but it's so close to the high school. I'm just about to do my very last school run on Friday, to drive to school for the primary school for my daughter.
Aww.
And then that's it. They'll be able to walk to high school. So I'm kind of excited, but also a bit sad that time of bittersweet really. But also I won't have to get up and go and do half an hour school run every morning. I'll gain an hour and a half of my day back every day from having to do the school runs.
Let's think of the positive so don't get emotional.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no, it is great. So taking it back to when you were younger, have you always had a passion for baking? Were you always in the kitchen kind of baking cakes?
Well, I did always bake, and I used to mess around making cakes for my sister. I remember making a little troll cake and a little model of a troll when she was younger. I also used to always be making things. So I did like baking, but I was very crafty. So I used to love Fimo. I don't know if you might be too young for that. Just plasticine that you put in the oven and it dries hard, kind of.
I want to say that I know what it is.
Yeah, you don't know. Sorry. But it's fine. But I used to make loads of little tiny models out of that.
Nice.
My sister was really into Playmobil, so I'd make miniature food and everything for her Playmobil house. I used to like make things out of Play-Doh, like a whole pizza thing. So it has very similar things to cakes. Like it's a very similar consistency to fondant, and making little models and everything. So yeah, I have always liked baking, but I've always been very creative and liked making as well. So it all kind of tied in together.
That creativity side of things. So people might know you from, well, a lot of people will, from Little Button Bakery. That's a mouthful. Could you talk me through, I know you mentioned it, delve into a bit more of that journey from running that into running the online business?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had Little Button Bakery, as I said, for 11 years. I did used to work from home, but I soon kind of outgrew that. It was getting quite difficult being at home all the time, having to manage the space, stopping work to go and get the kids, then having to go back to it. And that work-life balance was difficult to find because work was always there in the background, and it was very easy just to step back into it. So I looked for somewhere in Marple to rent, and I ended up renting a space above a music studios in Marple. It was just a totally blank room when I got it, and I fitted it all out with water and a kitchen, and I worked from there. So I actually made my very first wedding cake in the new studio on the like run up to COVID, and it was made ready to be delivered to the wedding on the Saturday, and then Boris called lockdown at 6 o'clock on the Friday.
Oh my gosh.
So my very first wedding cake I made in my new studio. Didn't ever make it to the wedding. So do you want me to talk a bit about COVID?
Yes, please.
So obviously I was predominantly a wedding cake baker. So COVID basically made my business disappear overnight. Weddings weren't allowed. It was just like someone had ripped, the rug out from underneath you. And it was a really scary time because it was like, well, what are we supposed to do here? And then it was, we weren't allowed to even go into like where we worked, and we couldn't go out. And it was just a really awful time. So on top of that, obviously, there was then the juggle of having to homeschool my children. My husband still carried on working throughout. So that kind of fell mostly on my shoulders. So it was difficult to kind of manage both businesses. But I still did keep the cake business going throughout COVID. Once I was allowed to kind of go back into where my studio was. And I kind of did treat boxes. I did things for like Halloween. And then I also developed these like date night boxes. So, because obviously nobody could go out on dates. So I sort of did these postal boxes that were lots of treats and like an online movie voucher and a little like candle and bath salts and stuff. So people could have like a date night at home. So they were really popular. And I mean, eventually weddings came back, but it was quite slow at first, small weddings. And for me, it just almost wasn't, not like in a selfish way, but it wasn't really worth my time for like the small weddings, what people wanted to pay for them, because there's a lot of work involved in a wedding. It's not just I can whip up a wedding cake in 4 hours. There's a lot of planning and preparation and communication that's involved. So it was nice when weddings did eventually come back properly because my business could get back on its feet. And I was lucky really because I was very well established. I was a really, well thought of business in the local area, in Manchester in general. I'd won a lot of awards for my business. So it was easy for that business to kind of pick back up again once it was allowed because my reputation was good.
Yeah.
And I'd kept myself visible during COVID. So I hadn't just disappeared off the face of the earth. In some ways, I'd become more visible because I got all this press because I was very outspoken about the wedding industry and the struggles that we were all facing. So I just made the most of it really and tried to get on every like pedestal I could, to a podium even, to talk about it, and talk about how it was affecting our industry and try to get help and support for it because there wasn't any industry specific support, and a lot of people fell through the gap of, the size payment and everything, and it was a difficult time. But now, so obviously I still carried on with the weddings, but then I thought, well, I maybe need to widen my net here. What if something like this was to happen again? My business is going to disappear overnight. And as I said, lots of people had asked me about advice and things during COVID. So I was like, well, I'm just going to try and leverage this a little bit. And my plan was always to do both businesses. It was that I would run my cake business and then I would also run the cake business club. And maybe just do less wedding cakes. So instead of doing 2 a week, I might just do 1 or even less. But I came to a point where the cake business club grew so fast, so quickly, and I could see it had real room for growth. And I had to make a decision, really. I was like, I can carry on doing each of them with half of my energy, or I can put all my energy into one and grow it. And I was like, well, I've done 11 years of the cake business, and I'd already grown that to a point, really. I was kind of at the top of like a ceiling of what I could charge for my work. I didn't really want to do more work because I was already working a lot, and I still had my children, and I wanted to take time off with them. So I just decided that I was going to end that and go into the Cake Business Club full time. And that's what I did. And I've not looked back then, really, since then. So I closed the Cake Business in October 2022, and the Cake Business Club's just grown and grown since then. And I absolutely love it. It's given me a much more flexible life than I had before with cakes. It involved a lot of weekend work with cake making, and now I don't really have to work weekends. I do a little bit of evening work, but not a lot. But it's now I plan my work around my life rather than the other way around.
Which can't be said for a lot of people.
No.
I know. I couldn't say that.
Yeah. So I'm not tied to that 9 to 5 kind of thing.
Which is so nice.
And if I want to take a day off, I do. I don't book in any calls on a Friday, so I keep Friday pretty free.
Yeah.
And I'll plan when I'm going to do my work around things that are happening in my life. So I'm like, well, I can't do a call that day because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. So talking about that then, like running your own business, obviously it's more flexible for you, but it's a lot of pressure. Running your own business, you've got your 2 kids, you've got your 4 sausage dogs, just to mention. I did tell you to bring them today, but that would have been...
Well, you wouldn't have been able to hear me.
We wouldn't have been able to do this. It would have been interesting. How do you kind of manage and balance all that? Is it because you've got that flexibility? You know, that sounds a lot and quite overwhelming.
Yeah, it is definitely a lot. But my kids are getting a bit older now. Like my son's 13, my daughter's 11. They're a lot more self-sufficient. My son doesn't really want to do much with us now. He wants to be with his friends. So that's definitely taken some of the pressure off as well. But I think I'm quite rigid with like systems and processes. I've got to be like to just get things done. So I try to stick to that pretty religiously. Like I plan my week out every week. I'll sit down and I'll time block my week. And so I know what I've got to do and when, including family stuff. So I know, if I've got to take somebody to a drum lesson, like I know when that is and I can't do work on that at that time. So, mistakes still do happen and I'll be like, oh God, I forgot that I've got that thing happening and now I can't do that. Or I'll double book myself accidentally. But I've just, I try to do as well as I can do with all the systems and processes that I have available. So Google Calendar is like my friend.
To love
if it's not in Google Calendar, it's not happening.
You're like, sorry, it's not happening. No. It's not in there. All the colour coding.
Yeah, colour coding. Yeah.
I need to get back into that. I feel very disorganised listening to you.
And have like my husband's can be part of it. So he has his calendar and we're linked. So if I put stuff in, he can see. I can see what he's doing. So we don't. It's easier, like what's happening.
Definitely. And if it's in the calendar, it's happening. If it's not, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. So for people listening or watching that maybe are thinking of starting their own business, what would you say was the most challenging part and then the biggest lesson?
Oh God. Challenges. There's so many challenges with running a business. I think you've got to, if you're going to start your own business, make sure it's in something that you find joy in, for sure, and that really lights you up, because it's obviously going to spend a lot of your time doing it, and make sure it's something you enjoy doing. And I think most people would do that with their own business. They're probably not going to start on something, but lots of people do start businesses in things that they've never done before. So maybe try and test it out first. Obviously I started with the cakes and then I've gone into the coaching, but I only work with cake makers. So it's still, I'm still within the cake industry, but not actually making cakes anymore. So challenges, just making sure it is, I guess, something you really, really want to do. Money can be a bit of a challenge as well, because when you work for yourself, your income isn't guaranteed. So just making sure that if you're moving from like a paid job into being self-employed, that you've built up a pot of money to be able to get you through that transition. and make sure that you've covered everything that you need to cover. You know, you probably want to have 6 months income sat there at least, to make sure that you are not going to be struggling and you're not going to be worrying. And that will definitely help. And, you know, building a business does take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you can have the option of going maybe more part-time in what you currently do, and then doing your other business on the side, which is what I kind of work through with a lot of cake makers, because lots of them are doing other jobs right now, and then they want to make it more full-time in the cake business.
Yeah.
But you obviously need to look at, okay, well, what would, say, dropping one day in my job mean financially? Okay, well, what would that mean that I would need to bring in from cakes? And then see if that adds up. And then that way you know whether you're going to be financially okay to drop that day and, you know, try and put more energy into your business. But without putting effort into the business, you're not going to grow it. Like, it's really hard. Like, lots of people try and juggle another business alongside a job, and then they find like the business that they want to get into just isn't growing because they can't put the time in it. And you do have to. So some way you've got to find a way of putting time into it and energy, because it does take a lot of time, particularly in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, to build up a business into what you want it to be. Once you're more established, you can take your foot off the gas a bit and get a bit of your time back. But don't go into it with rose-colored spectacles, really. Like,
just chilling.
It's difficult. But
so talking about kind of growing an online business, I know you use socials quite a lot. Can you kind of give any advice on how to grow that online community for people, like some tips and tricks?
I mean, social media is a bit of a minefield, to be honest.
It really is.
The goalposts are changing all the time. I mean, I focus a lot of my efforts on Instagram, to be honest. I don't really do a lot on Facebook. I've started to dabble a bit with TikTok recently.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a whole different
That's a whole
game.
minefield.
TikTok.
Yeah.
It's quite fun though, actually, but yeah, it's different. So I think just start would be my advice. Like, you're not going to get it right from the beginning. Just start putting stuff out there. There are people who just hold back so much. They're like, oh, I'm not ready. And like, I need to do it when it's perfect. It's never going to be perfect.
And you're never ready.
No, and you're never ready. And you'll always just keep putting it off. So once you start with the knowledge that the first few things you put out there are probably going to be like tumbleweed, like it's not going to happen. But you've got to keep being consistent, keep showing up. I mean, I could have easily, I built up a really good following on Little Button Bakery. I think it was about 12,500 followers. I decided to start again from scratch with the Cake Business Club, because I knew it was partly an overlap with my audience, but a lot of the people who followed me with Little Button Bakery wouldn't have been interested in coaching from for a cake business. So I started from scratch. And I've built that up again. Now I think I'm nearly at 7,500 followers. And it's just from consistency and showing up and testing lots of different things. And have fun with it, I'd say, because it can be like a real time suck, and it can get you down a bit. And social media is very easy to compare yourself to other people and to see how other people are doing. Just be yourself and have a bit of fun. Like, I very much show my personality on social media. I think you've got to be authentically yourself. There's no point in pretending to be somebody you're not.
True.
So if you're like, you know, if you love having a laugh and a joke, like, be like that, because the people will relate to you. If you try and hide and be somebody you're not.
And they'll want to work with you more because you look fun.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I had a one-to-one client today give me a little video testimonial for working with me. And she said that was one of the things that drew her to me, my personality from social media that she'd seen. And like, she's like, I just want her to work with me. Oh. So that was really lovely. But also, you're not going to be for everyone. Like, you've got to accept that.
Yeah.
You don't like every single person you ever meet in life. So showing up online, it can be a little bit like triggering sometimes as well, because if people don't like what you said, or there's like strange people on social media who say things that they would never say to your face, but they type it out, you've kind of just got to be prepared for a bit of that as well, and try not to let it affect you, you know, try not to take it to heart, just delete and block.
Yeah, exactly. It's
that.
Your account, it's your business, whatever kind of business you're running, you can block people, you can cut them out. You don't have to deal with it. It can be a scary place. social media. So
absolutely.
I guess managing that, but I think 100% showing up as yourself, and then people are getting to know you without even working with you yet. It's, or even like a personal Instagram, you've made friends with someone, you go on their Instagram, you're like, oh, they look really fun.
Yeah.
They look nice. I'd like to get to know them. It's a little insight into their life. So I love your Instagram content. I'm always like, such a good reel.
Thanks.
It does. It just, it shows more about you. And I think that's really important if you can do that. I want to delve into a bit of a different topic now.
Yeah.
You've recently been diagnosed with ADHD, as we've spoken about, but I'd love to talk about it more with the audience. Obviously, most people know what ADHD is, but if you were having to tell someone what it is for the first time, how would you describe it?
Like a firework exploding in your brain. No.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the Google definition.
Yeah, the Google definition. No. Well, it's a neurodevelopmental condition, and it can affect you in lots of different ways. People automatically assume ADHD is like a young boy bouncing off the walls, jumping up and down. And hyperactivity is part of it. But for a lot of people, including myself, that's not a physical hyperactivity. It's a mental hyperactivity. My brain's literally like running on a motor constantly, which has its pros and cons. But, there's lots of elements to it, impulsivity, forgetfulness, inattention. So just losing focus on things. And it's when it's like a constant, it's affecting you a lot. And for women particularly, it can be a lot more apparent when you're going through hormonal changes. So like, puberty, pregnancy, and menopause and perimenopause. So I think, it's potentially become more apparent to me as I'm at that stage of my life.
Right.
That's kind of something that I wanted to find out about.
Have you thought you've kind of had it when you were younger, or is it a recent?
I have thought it for many years, to be honest, and I've been putting off going to find out because there's a little bit of fear behind it, I guess, like a bit of a fear of the unknown and like almost like a label.
Yeah.
And will it affect how people think of me? Will it affect me professionally? Would it put people off if they knew that I had ADHD? But then I've always had it. So it's like if they've not been put off now, just because I say I've got it, it doesn't really make any difference. But I went I ummed and ahed over whether to actually go for a diagnosis. But I just thought I could maybe get some help if I do. And also it would help kind of explain some of the things I do. And it means that it's not a failing on my part for some things that happen in my life or the way I deal with things. So to be kinder to myself.
That's a really nice way to look at it.
Yeah, because I think you can blame yourself for a lot of things you do. Like forgetfulness for me is a really big one. I have to set alarms for everything in my phone, everything, even things that happen every week. And I've forgotten some really important things over the last few years. Like my mum was going into hospital and I didn't remember that she was going, so I didn't message her to say, like, I hope it all goes okay and all the rest of it. And I got absolutely roasted for that. And I felt awful. But and it wasn't a choice. And I think that's what people think. You're choosing not to remember. And people say, well, you can remember that. Well, why can't you remember that? It's not a choice. It's literally, sometimes a thought can come into my head and 1 second later it's gone and it's never coming back.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. So now I have to try and just counteract that by telling people, you have to help me remember these things. Like, I'm like, right, dad, sister, help me remember. If there's something important you need me to remember, even if you told me about it yesterday, like, you have to tell me. And like, just trying to keep myself, putting an alarm in my phone, making sure it goes off so I can remember in advance.
So as well as the forgetfulness, what were the other things that you were kind of noticing a lot that made you want to get the diagnosis?
I think I struggle sometimes with like procrastination and getting stuff done. And I'm very much, I wait till a deadline and then I'll do it. I'll know it's due like tomorrow, so it's like I've got to do it now. But if I just made better use of my time and I'll be faffing and procrastinating over it, I would have got it done much sooner, and I wouldn't have to then work at this like without really enough time to get these things done and on the last moment. Organisation as well can be a little bit difficult sometimes, which is why I have to have these really set procedures and systems. Everything runs pretty smoothly in my business now because I've just got things set up to run like that. But that's because I know if I don't, things won't happen. And impulsivity is like quite a big one for me. I'm very impulsive in terms of I'm quite hot-headed and I'll make decisions without fully thinking them through. Most of the time they go okay. like I'll wing it. Like I've run 2 really successful businesses, neither of them, and I am a business coach, but I've never written a business plan in my life. I've just gone on my instinct, and because my brain is literally charged like a motor, when I have an idea, that's it then. That idea is happening and it happens. I'll be like, I'm finishing it in this amount. I'll just won't stop till it's done. I built my website for the Kate Business Club from scratch in less than 2 days.
Wow.
Because I was like, I'm doing this now. And it's like, it's happening. So like it has its pros and cons. It doesn't, like I wouldn't say it affects me working with clients at all. In fact, if anything, it's positive because my brain is like a motor. I have so many ideas and I can see answers to problems really easily, and I can often see ideas and things that other people don't see really quickly. So, and I can give them a sea of ideas, like rather than just one thing to like, that's what you've got to do. I'm like, well, you could do this, or this. Like, which one do you want?
And they're like, so many things.
Yeah. Sometimes that's also problematic because I have a lot of ideas and people ask me things. I want to give my opinion on things and I want to say what I think. And I find that so hard to not do. And sometimes it's not wanted. And that then can be difficult. So
how do you manage that?
I have to really, really try not to do it, but it's so hard sometimes. Recently, I found out what human design type I am, and I'm a projector. And my thing I'm supposed to do is wait for the invitation to be asked to give the information. It's literally like, it's like this total clash of someone with the ADHD, like I've got to wait. I'm literally like, I want to tell you, I need to say the thing. And lots of people do ask me for stuff. And actually it feels good when they do ask me and I've got like that permission.
And it's a genuine
to tell
ask,
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lots of people happily will listen to me witter on about the things that I want to tell them. But I mean, maybe some people are thinking inside, just shut up now. I don't want to know.
I didn't want your opinion, but
no.
okay.
And I won't just give it like a tiny thing. I'll go on in great detail about all the things I've got to tell you. Like I can't.
But you're trying to be helpful.
I am.
It's coming from a good place.
It is coming from all these things are done like from a place of like love. But for some people, it can probably be annoying. So it's never really caused problems from a work point of view with any of my clients or anything. But like I can rub my husband up the wrong way sometimes by giving him my advice. And he's like, shut up, man. And we're like, we'll clash. Or like my mum.
I just wanted to rant. I didn't want advice.
Yeah. So there's lots of things really that have I've just been like, well, maybe I should explore this a little bit more and just find out for sure. Because I can think all I want that I do have ADHD. And I was 99% sure that I did from everything I've researched and everything I've read. And like there's so much more knowledge and information out there now. And a lot of information about late diagnosed women. I think because it's just becoming a lot more apparent that often women are sent off with antidepressants for things to do with menopause and also ADHD. And like they just diagnose you as being depressed or you need some medication, but it can be deeper than that. And there was I filled in various questionnaires online about the things I was experiencing. And, it's very obvious that it was pointing towards the fact that I did. So I just thought, right, I'm going to go and get a diagnosis and find out for sure. And then I can see what my options are. And I'd definitely be open to trying like medication. I'm not going to rule that out. Even I believe you can take it like some of the time and not all of the time.
I've heard this. like people take it if they need to really focus
Yeah.
on something, or they want to try it, but you don't want to commit to
Yeah.
taking it all the time.
So like work would be really good, because by an afternoon, by like 1:30, 2 o'clock, my brain's starting to like go on a little like vacation. It's not really ready to do any work. Whereas if I took medication, it might help with that.
Yeah.
But then my brain comes back alive again then about 11:30 at night, and then I'll be researching. I was researching how to cut sleepers with a saw the other day for our garden at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
I just got this thought in my head of like, I should be asleep.
And then you start actually doing it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, this
but then I
right.
can't go to sleep then, because I'm thinking about cutting the garden sleepers. So things like that. I think if it could just quieten my brain at times when I need it to be quieter, so maybe like Monday to Thursday or something like that, where I've got more pressing work things to do.
Yeah.
It would be more helpful.
Do you think overall having ADHD helps running a business, or it's a problem, in your opinion?
I think for me, it's got a lot of positives. I don't think I could go back to being employed now. And I think probably some of the things I came up across in my other like previous careers, and maybe the way I was irritated by certain things, or like arguments I might have had with management and things, potentially were due to ADHD. But I think it's definitely a better option for me to be self-employed, so I can manage my own time and my own like journey and my own days. I don't think I would have built the businesses I have built without that. I think my sheer determination and the drive that just doesn't go off in my brain has helped me to just really focus on what I wanted to do and build the businesses. As I said, I've never really like, I've obviously planned what I'm doing. I've not just thought I'm doing this business, let's go and do it. But I haven't sat down and done a great big detailed plan. I've just been like, right, well, this is what I need to do. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'll just literally get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for people listening or watching that maybe are resonating with a lot of what you're saying, what would you recommend if they're thinking, maybe I do need to get diagnosed? What are those first steps? Is it research? Is it get the diagnosis? What would you advise?
I think arm yourself with information first. Like there's loads of questionnaires you can, if you just Google ADHD questionnaire, there's loads you can fill in, and that'd be pretty apparent from just filling those what you need to do. It's very, very difficult right now, if not impossible, to be referred for an ADHD diagnosis on the NHS. I was told by my GP that they're not even taking anyone on the waiting list.
Really?
And I've read online of people been waiting like 7 years for diagnosis. Like they're just it's not happening. So I think the NHS have realised this, and they've brought in kind of external companies to help to manage this. So you can go through what's called the right to choose pathway. And if you just Google ADHD right to choose, there's like a letter you can print off to take into your GP, and it'll explain all the pathway, and it'll show you how long the waiting list is for all the different providers that will do the assessment for you. So get to your GP armed with the information. I actually sent all my information in advance to my GP before I made an appointment.
Oh, right. Okay.
I asked them just to do a referral for me without an appointment, because I was like, this is all the evidence.
Yeah.
Can you do it? But they wouldn't do that. They still wanted to speak to me. So I spoke to them, and then I was like, I want to be referred under the right to choose pathway, and they can't say no. So then that's what happened. I got referred in February, I think it was. So it's not been too long a wait to actually get the diagnosis. And it's good, really, because I'd be very impatient waiting for it.
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But I mean, I should really have gone years ago, and obviously, but I just kept putting it off. And now I've got to wait for. So I've had the report detailing that I do have it, and all the information that's got to go to my GP, and then you kind of go on a wait list then to have to be assessed for medication, which I think can take up to 3 months with this particular provider. And then I guess that'll be it. Then I can try that and see what happens, and it might be something I then have to have for the rest of my life, and I'll see how I feel on it. But I mean, I'll definitely explore other avenues as well. You can have counselling and coaching and cognitive behavioural therapy and things.
So, classic Marple Journal question. if someone found your journal or hypothetical journal, because we've discussed
Yeah.
that you don't
Yeah, no,
journal.
don't journal.
Let's pretend you do. What's one thing you'd want them to read?
Okay. So I think if I did keep a journal, and I have got one, I just need to write in it.
We'll start today.
I think this is an ADHD thing. You have the best intentions, and I'm always buying stuff, and then I just don't start the thing. So maybe I'll start today. Yeah, I think if I was going to journal, I'd obviously be writing in it about what's happened in the day and things that I've got to celebrate, and obviously things maybe that I want to work on and memories and for that day. I think it'd just be, if someone was to open it, I'd want them to see that there is something good to celebrate in every day, even if that's something small. That there's always a positive to find, even if you've had a really bad day, there'll be something good that's happened that you can celebrate.
I love that. I saw something the other day that was like, I am happy every day, but it's not all day every day, but I'll have a moment of happiness. And I was like, that's nice. Let's focus on the tiny bit of joy in every day. Promote yourself. Tell everyone where they can follow you, find you, if they want to get involved in the Kate Business Club.
So the best place to find me is on my Instagram account, which is just at the Kate Business Club. I do share advice and tips that is relevant to all businesses, not just Kate businesses. Yeah. It's obviously the cake kind of, swing on it, but it's relevant for everybody. If you are a cake maker, then you want to come and work with me because I'll help you grow your business. I've got lots of free things that I offer. If you can join my free Facebook group. That's called A Bigger Slice of the Cake Collective. But check out my website, thecakebusinessclub.co.uk. There's loads of resources on there that you can get that will just help you save a lot of time in your business. Or you could come and work with me in the Kate Business Club and have me help you every single week and every day with your business and just push you forwards. I really just want to help as many cake businesses as I can to be more successful and to build their own version of success, and which isn't always about finances. Sometimes it's about flexibility, like I said. And the cake industry is predominantly a women-led industry. And I think many people think of cake businesses as it's a hobby, like it's not a proper business, it's not a real business. And unfortunately, that makes it really, really hard for people to build a business because the general public and lots of other cake makers don't take it seriously. So I want to kind of change that. And I'm on a bit of a mission to pricing is my big thing, helping people with their pricing, to get the pricing sorted and to be able to actually earn money from cakes. So if that floats your boat,
Sounds brilliant.
Come and follow me
follow
at
Kate.
The Cake Business Club, and I'll help you with that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kate, for joining me today at the Cheshire Podcast Studio. It's been brilliant. Thank you for being open and honest and vulnerable. I've had a great time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries. If you enjoyed this episode or you found something inspiring in there, please do share it with a loved one or a local business that might benefit from Kate's story and Kate's journey. If you enjoyed and you want to hear more of the Marple Journal episodes on Spotify, make sure you follow, rate and save the episodes. Click that notification bell if you are on Spotify so that you get notified every time a new episode comes out. On YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe and comment on your favourite episodes. On socials, you can find us. It's the Marple Journal Podcast on Instagram and the Marple Journal on Facebook. To get involved, to be a guest, you can email me. It's themarplejournal@outlook.com. I'll see you here again for our next episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Bye bye now.